Hello everyone, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care, and today I want to do a 1,000 hour review on my 2019 Ferris Z3X mowers. I have two different ones that I bought in 2019, a 61-inch mower with a 37 horse Vanguard and a 52-inch with the spreader on it right now with a 33 horse Vanguard. So I've got a list of everything that I've done to these mowers in the last 1,000 plus hours now. This mower's at 1,065. The other mower's at 1,035 hours. So I did not include on this list the oil changes, air filter, fuel filter changes, that type of thing. This is more of repairs and replacement of other things, you know, that aren't maintenance, I guess we'll put it that way. So it's had regular hydro oil, regular oil changes. As a lot of you know, with the oil guard system, your oil changes are every 500 hours, but I think I've changed them probably 4 times. So it's been closer to 250, 300 hours each time that I've changed the engine oil. And then the hydro gear oil, I believe I've changed 3 times. So as far as maintenance goes on your fluid changes, these mowers are the best on the market as far as I know, unless they're putting oil guard on other machines now. That oil guard's pretty amazing as far as downtime. So starting with the 61-inch mower, at 394 hours I had to replace the hydro belt. So that's the drive belt that runs between the engine and your rear hydros, and what gives the mower forward and reverse power. It doesn't run anything else. It only controls stop and go, basically forward and reverse, and it just runs the hydros, your hydro pumps. That was at 394 hours. So at 628 hours I replaced the deck belt. It didn't break, it was just getting worn, and I decided to go ahead and replace it before it snapped on me. But I think, you know, 628 hours is pretty good. Now at 750 hours, I had to replace the hydro belt again on the 61. At 868 hours, I had to replace the starter, and it didn't just go out, it was just getting weak, and had to tap on the solenoid quite a bit to get it to kick in, and you know, it was just getting wore out. So 893 hours I replaced the center deck spindle, the middle of the deck. I replaced that spindle, only that spindle, and it was just starting to get where there was some play in the blade, so you could take the end of the blade and you could move it up and down about 1/8 of an inch. And so I went ahead and replaced that spindle. And those are rebuildable, so you know, if you guys get one that's bad, at least on these models, and from what I can tell on the new models as well, those spindles come apart and you can replace the bearings. It has 2 bearings in it, and it was easy to do, and you know, saves a lot of money over replacing an entire spindle. So at 1,005 hours I replaced the hydro belt again. So you see there's kind of a pattern there. It seems like these hydro belts only go about 250 some hours. I don't know why that is. At 1,055 hours, so I just had this done, they replaced the wiring harness on the mower, and that was mainly the engine area up to the controls. And the reason was because on the front of the engine it has a, I'm going to call it a computer. I don't know if that's really the technical term, but it's pretty much the brain of the engine, and the plug that plugged into that had come loose over time and was damaged. It had some broken prongs in it, and what was happening was that I was losing power periodically. It felt like the engine would go from full power to like half power, and I couldn't figure out why or what was going on. So when I finished up the season, I went and had that looked at and repaired. Another thing that I want to point out is that these mowers, they're not just, I've been running them for 4 seasons, and I don't just mow with them. We mow through the season, and then at the end of the season we do leaf cleanup with these mowers as well. And that's anything from mulching leaves to running the Protero baggers that are on the back. This one still has the bagger on because I've still got some cleanups to do. So these mowers have put in some pretty hard hours and gotten a lot of work done. And you know, most of all, the most important thing with a machine for a business is it's made me money. And you know, yeah, they've had some issues. I think that could be said of any machine. I know that I've definitely had worse in the past as far as costing me money. So moving on to the 52, at 250 hours, the hydro belt went out on the 52. Had that replaced. The hydro belt is a pain in the butt to change, but it is doable yourself. I have been able to do that myself on both mowers each time, and so you know, there's something to be said for that, and being able to do your own maintenance on that kind of thing. At 612 hours, I had to replace the hydro belt again. I didn't have any issues, and then when that hydro belt went out, it actually damaged one of the fans, the plastic fan that's on top of the hydro, and so I had to have that replaced as well. That I took it to the repair shop for. It was a little bit out of my scope, and so I took that in to be repaired. At 645 hours, I replaced the deck belt, and similar to the 61 inch, it didn't snap on me or anything. It's just that I noticed it was getting cracked and worn, and I decided to go ahead and replace that. You know, preventative maintenance. It probably could have gone longer, but I like to take care of that stuff before it becomes an issue if I can. At 850 hours, on a day that was about 103 degrees, I was out mowing and the PTO clutch locked up. When the PTO clutch locked up, it smoked the hydro belt, and so I had to replace the clutch and replace the hydro belt at 850 hours. This 61 inch mower is still going on the original PTO clutch, whatever you want to call it. Not really sure what the issue was there. It happened. So at 860 hours, I had my first deck pulley go out, and it was actually the tension pulley. So it's the pulley that's spring loaded that keeps the tension on the belt. And when I say the pulley went out, what happened was that the bearings went out in the middle of the pulley. On the tension pulley, those bearings are replaceable. On the idler pulley that's in the belt system, it is not replaceable. It has a stamped type pulley, and the bearing is not accessible to change out. So I changed the bearings on the tension pulley, went on about my business. At 878 hours, the idler pulley went out on the 52, and that's the one I said you can't change the bearings on, so I had to replace it. I believe that was around a $30 pulley. And then at 1005 hours, I replaced the hydro belt again. So stands to reason, you know, probably another 220, 250 hours, and I'll be changing the hydro belt again on both of these machines. I'd say if I had any complaints about anything on the mowers, that would probably be it, that hydro belt. I'd like to see that last longer, at least last as long as the deck belt. But it is what it is. And honestly, guys, that's my only complaint. These machines have served me well. They cut good, they run good, they do what they're supposed to do. You know, the maintenance is great on them with having so many hours between downtime to do maintenance. And the ride, you know, it lives up to Ferris's reputation for having a smooth ride. And they're tough. You know, this is the area that I'm in is very rocky, very hilly. So a lot of hills, which equals to a lot of ditches, and then a lot of rocks. I can definitely tell you that I've mowed more weeds than I have grass in the time that I've had these. I have some nicer yards now, but you know, early on I didn't, and you know, they mowed mostly weeds. So anyway, all that being said, you know, my 1,000 plus hour review, I would definitely give these mowers a, you know, top marks on pretty much everything except for those hydro belts. And you know, I can live with that. Obviously, I just bought 2 more. These are 2023 models, and you know, so apparently the issues that I've had didn't scare me off from Ferris. They've still outperformed other mowers that I've had, and I've ran some of the other major brands, ran or tried the other major brands, and I'm still standing by my Ferris mowers, guys. They're worth it. So anyway, that's about all I've got for right now. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Get out there and make some money, and we'll catch you on the next one.